There's so much information out there about how to get exercising and how to keep exercising, but is any of it actually appropriate for you? Especially if you're over the age of 50, what considerations do you need to take if you are going to start in on exercising consistently? On today's episode of the Exercise is Health podcast, Julie and I discuss this topic and answer the question, what is the best way for a woman over 50 to start exercising? We are going to cue the intro song and then we're going to jump right into this conversation. Welcome to the Exercise is Health podcast, where we're talking about exercise, health, and the interconnectedness of the two. We are your hosts, Charlie
and Julie,
and we will be coming to you every single week from our studio, Muscle Activation Schaumburg. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Exercise is Health podcast. We are your hosts, Charlie
and Julie,
and we're coming to you from our studio, Muscle Activation Schaumburg, here in Schaumburg, Illinois. Now, at Muscle Activation Schaumburg, we believe your health is your most valuable asset, and the single best thing that you can do to both boost and protect this asset is exercise. Specifically, exercise is geared towards building the health and function of your muscles. And if you are looking for a way to exercise from the comfort of your own home, doing workouts that take less than 25 minutes and require minimal equipment, then you are going to love the MAS Home Workouts Bundle. To learn more about this bundle and all of the programs that are included in it, including our uber popular MAS at-home workout program, go to homeworkout.matschaumburg.com. Now today, we are talking about those of you who are new to exercise, how you should be starting off, and especially if you're a woman over the age of 50. There are very specific considerations that you need to keep in mind if you are going from not exercising to wanting to exercise on a consistent basis. So to make sure that your exercise is both safe and effective and ultimately appropriate for your body, listen up because we have some awesome tips you are definitely going to want to take to heart.
Now, if you are a woman and you are 50 or over, you are my favorite type of person to work with. And if you are new to exercise, even better. Actually, what Charlie and I do here at MAS, we work with people to improve their function through exercise. But as we've been expanding into this online market, like our One Workout Away Challenge group, our home workout series, we've realized that the people that we best serve with those programs are women and men from the age of 45 to 65 that want to work out at home. And I think especially during and now coming out of the COVID pandemic, the desire to work out at home has really increased. I'm so excited to share these tips with you because just in our journey, over the last year and a half, we've realized that this population, you guys are an amazing group to work with and can really, really receive so many benefits from starting to exercise.
So, Julie, when a new client comes to you and they're fitting this demographic, what would you say some of the kind of current beliefs are that a lot of those clients have that they're kind of been carrying with them for a while that might either be preventing them from exercising or just are some misconceptions about exercise?
There's two big things that I see a lot of people in this demographic bringing up. If you're 50, you're just starting to exercise and you're not really quite sure where to start. The first one being, well, if I just do anything, that would be good. And in general, yes, that would be good. We're going to talk about that a little bit because moving your body versus not moving your body is going to be better. But the other one is that exercising is incredibly overwhelming and it's really just not for me. Meaning what they are presented with in social media, on the news, or what they just see when they go in the gym, they don't really relate to, or they couldn't really see themselves doing those things. So I think what we've done and what we have to continue to do, Charlie, is to reframe what is exercise for this population. Because again, when you're thinking about going to the gym, the people that you see there, the motions, the exercises that you see there, do you relate to those? And a lot of times for this demographic, it's a big fat no. That's what becomes a huge barrier to entry for women that are 50 and over.
That's such a great point, because think about this in another context. Like, imagine that there was only one type of restaurant in the entire world, and your view on restaurants was that one thing. Like, it was only, let's say, a burger and fries joint. Okay. Now, me personally, I love burgers and fries. So I'd be like, okay, awesome. That's great. But if you're really not into it that much, you would feel like, well, going out to a restaurant really isn't for me. So to your point, part of like our job initially is just kind of expanding their view of what exercise is and what exercise can be, and showing them, exercise really doesn't have to be about everything that you see on your social feed. It doesn't have to be about everything that you kind of grew up with from an exercise standpoint, whether it's the aerobics classes or anything like that. Like, there's a lot more to exercise, and we get to explore that with them. So I think that's a really kind of fun transition that we get to help a lot of people make.
Now, to expand on that analogy, Charlie, that you made with the restaurants, what I was thinking, I didn't even think of this until you were mentioning it, but you are a burgers and fries person. And even when we go to an Asian joint, because that's more my thing, you somehow find a way to get some version of a burger and fry to come out of this Asian joint, right?
This is true.
Yeah. What I want to blend that into is that what's amazing is that the type of exercise that serves you, Charlie, you could probably go to any kind of workout facility at home, at a Pilates studio, at a big box gym, at a meathead gym, whatever type of gym. And you could, because of your experience and your expertise in this area, you could figure out a workout that's going to serve your body, even if it's not what would be normally thought to occur at that gym, right? Like, you could find a way to get your burger and fries from an Asian joint. Hopefully, by the end of this podcast, you listeners can start to think about, okay, what should I be looking for in a workout that's going to serve my body? And second of all, I think I could figure out a way to start accomplishing this at any type of facility that I enter. So the first thing I want to bring up for our listeners is I want you to consider weight training. And I want you to consider this to be the most important part about exercise. And I know this is probably like, I wish you didn't say that, because the thing I'm comfortable with is going for a walk, or hopping on my bike and going for a bike ride, or going to the gym and getting on the elliptical. Those are all cardio exercises. They're all great and they all serve their purpose. But I want to invite you to explore or consider to put weight training at the top of your list. The reason being is weight training is far more potent and actually effective at strengthening and increasing the conditioning of the muscles that control your joints all over your body. So think about when you hop on the elliptical. Think about the motion that you do on elliptical. When you think about that, do you notice that your body is doing the same exact motion over and over and over and over again? Well, that's cool, but the downfall of that is that you're only doing the same motion over and over and over again. So only those motions, joints, and muscles are getting conditioned, are getting strong, are getting improving metabolic function, and all the amazing benefits that come from exercise. When you weight train, because of the variety, you're working shoulders, you're working your elbows, your wrists, your knees, your hips, and all different motions, your ankles. The beauty that comes from weight training is the variety and the fact that you're actually going to start addressing function and strength at all your different joints, not just the joints that are included in the repetitive motion that we call cardio.
Yeah, this is a huge point, because so often, like you say, Julie, people that are coming in this age demographic, they're really comfortable with going for a walk or doing some more cardio-based activity. But like you're saying, the problem is, one, yes, so those motions are so repetitive, it can put excessive stress and strain on the joints. But two, it's also kind of the point in time where people's joints may not start to feel that well, which means issues that would be maybe minor issues start to become bigger issues when this repetitive stress and strain gets put on it. The cool thing about doing resistance training from a joint perspective is, yes, it can put different stresses on the joints, but like you were saying, it can also strengthen your muscles and improve how your muscles function, which can be tremendously beneficial for improving the health and function of your joints. So that's one thing that we see a lot is, when people hit that 50-year-old mark and over, all these aches and pains that they didn't really notice when they were younger, they start coming to light. And one thing that we found to really help with that is making sure that people consistently do resistance training, specifically when it's geared towards improving the health and function of their muscles. All right. And so that's kind of a really big takeaway with this is once you hit that 50-year-old mark, that's oftentimes, again, when people really start to notice that maybe their body starts to go downhill a little bit. Well, if you're going to use exercise to improve the health and function of your body, you want to make sure that you're doing something to kind of improve the health and function of those muscles, because that really will be the key to making sure that your joints and other aspects of your body stay healthy and functioning well.
All right, so we could dive into a rabbit hole now and talk about how to do every single exercise in the gym or in your workout video or whatever. But I think the big overarching idea that we should probably dive into is Charlie and I's concept that we call body matching. Now, body matching is simply a term that we created to conceptualize this idea that you need to take exercises and make them match what your body can do. Oftentimes we're presented with an exercise and we try to get our body to do that exercise, to match that exercise. But actually we have to reverse it and make exercises match your body. Let's say you're saying, okay, Julie and Charlie, you say I should weight train. I found this weight training class online, or I'm joining your one workout away challenge, or I'm doing the home workout program, or I'm going to the gym and I'm going to try the weight machines because you're saying do weight training. Excellent. Now, what you need to do when you weight train is make sure that those exercises are feeling good for your body. There are a couple modifications that you can make to any kind of exercise that will help you body match. The first one I want you to think of is range. Okay, so when you think about an exercise, there's a certain range that your body goes through. Let's take a squat. Think about a lot of people take their butt down to like a chair height and then stand back up. They take their butt down to a chair height and stand back up, and you do that a whole bunch of times. Now, there's a whole bunch of cues that we can do to change how you feel during that exercise, but one of the biggest things is changing your range. So when you go down, is there a point in the range that the exercise starts to not feel good for you? Maybe a joint starts clicking, or you start getting tightness in your butt or your back or somewhere else in your body. Is there a symptom that arises as you do full range of this exercise? If so, one of the easiest things to do is to change your range. What this looks like is instead of going to a seat height when you go down, try to go half a range. So bend your knees, do your squat like your normal form, but then stop halfway down. Even if the teacher is telling you to go all the way down, or if the instructions on the manual are saying to go all the way down. We need to body match this exercise to your body. So try half range, try 3/4 range, try 1/4 range. So changing range is a great way to start manipulating exercise to better fit your body.
You know what's amazing about the idea of body matching from a range of motion perspective is when you do that, your body allows you to start moving more. And when you try to move more right from the beginning and not match what your body is allowing you to do on that day, oftentimes the opposite occurs. You actually start to tighten up. You actually start to lose range of motion. And this is a common thing that we see happen so often when people first start off weight training, as well as people who have been weight training a while when they haven't received proper guidance, is they're trying so hard to do what they believe is full range of motion that they are actually exceeding their body's tolerance for range of motion, and they end up losing range of motion because of that. But like I was saying, the flip side is also true. When you adhere to what your body tells you is appropriate from a range of motion perspective, when you body match your exercise, your body will actually allow you to have more range of motion, which I think is one of the coolest experiences for a client to have. Especially, it's kind of like an easy win when they first start off exercising with us, to realize like, okay, my knee didn't go all the way straight at the start. Instead of flinging the weight, I listened to that, but by the second or third set, wow, my knee motion has increased a whole bunch.
Charlie, you make such a good point, and I love that you brought that up. The way I always explain it to my clients is I always say we have to work and challenge and do what you can do to be able to one day do what you cannot do. A lot of us think we have to push the boundary to be able to improve our function or improve our conditioning or to get that amazing exercise effect that we're looking for. But actually, with exercise, and especially with range of motion and function of joints, the more that we strengthen what you can do, so doing what feels good, what makes you not feel achy and sore, what makes your body feel more functional and energized, the more your body will allow you to do. So one of the things is it'll give you more motion by training in the motion that you can do without pain, without the zinging or the clicking. I love that point. Thank you so much for bringing that up.
Now, in addition to body matching your exercise from a motion perspective, we also recommend that you err on the side of moving slowly. All right. There are a couple things that we see kind of make people's body not feel that well after exercise. One is moving too much. In other words, not body matching the motion. And number two is moving too fast. So we try to cue everybody to move slowly while you're exercising. And what this is going to allow for is you're going to be able to feel your body telling you, okay, yeah, that's enough range of motion. If you move really fast, it's going to be far more difficult for you to perceive when your body says, yeah, this motion is enough or this motion isn't feeling good, oftentimes until it's too late. So by moving slowly, you'll be able to detect better what's going on with your body and when there might be an issue that's occurring. The other thing that moving slowly is going to allow you to do is it's going to allow you a better ability to focus on what's most important during that exercise, which is squeezing your muscles.
Absolutely. Speed is a huge factor in determining how your exercise has the opportunity to influence your body and how you feel after you exercise. So slow it down when you're doing your weight training. I want you to remember slower, 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 slower. That's literally what I'm telling my clients all the time. And Charlie mentioned a great one where you're able to feel the muscles you're working and you're able to feel when the range of motion is over, because usually your body will tell you by tightening up somewhere. That's actually a normal, common, hopeful response. Your body telling you, oh, the range is done, turn around. The other thing is that when you move slowly, you're much less likely to get injured. Reason being is when you move slowly, you know when the set is over. You know how normally when you read the women's magazine or whatever consumption of exercise that you get to see that you're not doing, meaning from a magazine or the news or social media, is that usually it's like, well, if you just do 3 sets of 10, then you'll build glute strength. Or if you do 3 sets of 12, then you're going to work endurance. Well, actually, you can aim to do 10 or 12 reps of whatever exercise you want. But when you move slowly, if there's a point in time where you cannot do the exercise appropriately, you'll know right at the exact correct moment. Reason being is when you move slowly, you're not going to miss any of the cues that your body is trying to tell you. Your body will tell you when it's fatigued and it cannot do another appropriate set or another rep that has the right form. So move slowly so that you know when to stop the range, when you know that your body is fatigued, and so that you can focus on the muscles that you're trying to work.
Yeah, I like relating that last point to like how I typically eat at Thanksgiving dinner, which is I pile my plate high and I eat fast. Why? Because I'm going to be able to eat a lot more doing that. If I were to eat slowly and just kind of go bite by bite, I'm going to feel full a lot sooner. But when I just like shovel it in, I can get a whole bunch of food in. The problem is afterwards, I tend to not feel as well. So that's oftentimes what happens with people's exercise is when you move faster and you kind of numb yourself of the experience while it's happening, afterwards you're less likely to feel well. But if you slow down and you try to really connect with your body while you're doing the exercise, you will know when your body tells you, oh, no, you've had enough today. And that's perfectly great. That's exactly where you should be on that day.
All right, so just to recap, some of the things that we talked about is making sure that you put resistance training at the top of your list when you think about exercise. Don't let it intimidate you. Go at it by body matching, meaning make the exercises match how your body is functioning and feeling by looking at range of motion, changing your speed, and you want to make sure that you leave your exercise feeling energized and good. Exercise that makes you feel sore and achy and depleted, like you're super tired, that means that the exercise was way too much for your body, and actually you'll get more benefit by doing the exercise that makes your body feel good and energized. But I want to talk quickly about some of the benefits that you will get by starting to resistance train, especially if you are just starting and you're a woman over 50. The first one is increased function in your body. When we don't use our muscles and joints, our body realizes that. And keeping range of motion, keeping muscle tone, keeping muscle function is a very expensive thing for your body to do. So your body would prefer to not keep that. So by participating in resistance training, which uses a lot of your muscles, a lot of your joints, a lot of the range of motion that each of your joints can do, you're going to preserve the function and strength in your muscles and joints. And that will keep you doing the things you want to do in your life as you age and you go into your 60s and 70s, and starting in your 50s is a really great time to start. Another thing that weight training is really great for is building muscle tone and muscle function. One thing that I track when I train clients is people's weight and body fat, if a client wants to do that. What I notice is that if you're not currently weight training and you are around the age of 50 and you are a female, it is very likely that probably 40 to 50% of your entire body mass is fat. And so when you start resistance training, you are starting to bias your body towards building more of your body mass towards muscle. And the reason that we want that is we want to see more muscle because it's more metabolic, and it's kind of like your structural safety guard. So building muscle will really help your body composition, we call that, and it'll also help you stay functional. The last one that many women are really looking for with weight training is bone density. When you start resistance training, it will directly impact and improve your bone density. Because bone responds to the forces around it, increasing the forces and the tugging on bones will help increase your bone density. A lot of times at women's 50-year-old exam at their doctor, this might come up, the idea of osteoporosis. And that's because when women reach the age of 50, they often start becoming less active, and this becomes a huge concern for their bone density. Resistance training is one of the best ways to directly impact your bone density. So that is the third really great reasons why resistance training should be top of mind when you're thinking about exercise.
So if you're a woman over the age of 50 and you are starting to exercise or wanting to get into exercise, or let's say you are exercising consistently but want to feel like you have a better idea of what to do strategically to build the health and function of your body, definitely give this episode another listen. There was so much information in this episode, and every point that was brought up was super important. So give it a listen, share it with somebody that you know that is over the age of 50 that is either wanting to get into exercise or is currently exercising but wants more guidance with exercise. And if you'd like a step-by-step guide on how to exercise from the comfort of your own home in under 25 minutes while using minimal equipment and still building the health and function of your body, then you are definitely going to want to check out the MAS Home Workouts Bundle. To learn more about this package of home workouts, go to homeworkout.matschaumburg.com. And while you're online, if you wouldn't mind, head on over to iTunes and leave us a rating and review. It helps people find this podcast when they're looking for information on exercise and when they're looking for information on health. So if you found value in this conversation today, let us know by leaving us a 5-star rating and review. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. We always appreciate it. Have a fantastic week, and we'll talk with you all next week. Hey there, it's Charlie again. One last thing. I want to let you in on a secret project that I've been working on for quite some time now. I am planning on releasing a book by the middle of summer 2021. But here's the thing, because I'm self-publishing this book, there's only going to be a limited number of copies available at any given time. So to learn more about this book and to be one of the first to find out when this book actually gets released, what I need you to do is go to exerciseforlifemethod.com. There you'll find out more information as well as some exclusive bonuses that I'm offering just for simply staying in the loop with what's going on with this book. So to learn more and claim your bonuses, go to exerciseforlifemethod.com, enter in your information, and you'll be automatically kept up to date. Learn all about the book and bonuses at exerciseforlifemethod.com. This podcast is for information purposes only. The statements and views on this podcast are not medical advice. This podcast, including Julie and Charlie Cates, disclaim responsibility for any possible adverse effects from the use of information contained herein. Opinions of guests are their own, and this podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements made by guests. This podcast does not make any representations or warranties about guest qualifications or credibility. This podcast may contain paid endorsements or advertisements for products or services. Individuals on this podcast may have a direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to herein. If you think you have a medical issue, consult a licensed physician.